The night shift is a different world. While everyone else sleeps, you're alone. In empty offices, abandoned hospitals, quiet warehouses, just you and the darkness. Welcome back to the Whisper Files. I'm your host, and today we're opening a new Case 5 Workers. 5 night shifts. 5 encounters that will make you question if you're ever truly alone when working after dark. The night shift pays better for a reason. It's unsettling, but some workers discover it's unsettling for reasons their employers never mentioned. Number 5. The 3 a.m. Visitor. Marcus worked as an office cleaner for a downtown law firm. 52 years old, worked the 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. shift. Empty offices, just him and his cart, vacuuming and emptying trash. One night at 3 a.m., Marcus was vacuuming the 3rd floor when he heard footsteps. Heavy footsteps. He stopped his vacuum and listened. The footsteps were coming down the hallway. Slow. Deliberate. "Security!" Marcus called out. No answer. The footsteps stopped. Silence. Marcus went back to vacuuming. 5 minutes later, the footsteps were back. Behind him. Getting closer. Marcus spun around. Nobody there, but he could hear breathing. Heavy breathing. Right behind him. He ran for the stairwell. Down 3 flights. To the lobby. The guard at the desk looked up confused. "You okay?" the guard asked. "Someone upstairs," Marcus gasped. "3rd floor. I heard footsteps. Someone breathing." The guard checked his security footage. The footage showed Marcus working alone. Nobody else on the 3rd floor the entire night. "Must have been the building settling," the guard said. "Pipes make weird noises." But Marcus knew what he heard, and he never worked that night shift again. Here's the thing. 3 weeks later, Marcus saw something online. A news article. A man's body found in the building's walls. 3rd floor, behind the paneling. Been there for 2 years. The body was identified as David Chen, a lawyer who'd gone missing in 2022. The article said the body showed signs that he'd been trapped, that he'd tried to claw his way out, that fingernails were found in the walls. Marcus realized something that made him feel sick. The footsteps he heard, the breathing he heard. It wasn't David Chen. It was someone else. Someone still walking those halls. Someone still there. Because a week after finding David's body, the security guard quit. Said he'd seen something on the monitors. Someone walking the halls. Someone who wasn't supposed to be there. Someone who looked like they didn't belong to any time the building was currently living in. The 3rd floor has been sealed off now. Locked. No one works there anymore. But security footage sometimes shows something. A figure walking the halls. At 3 a.m. exactly. Looking for someone. Looking for something. Number 4. The patient who wasn't there. Jennifer worked night shift in a hospital's psychiatric ward. 28 years old, RN, 6 years experience. She'd worked hundreds of night shifts without incident. One Tuesday night, she noticed something odd. The patient count was off. The system showed 14 patients. She counted 13 beds with people in them. She checked the charts. Patient in room 7B. Marcus Webb. Admitted 3 days ago. Psychiatric hold. But room 7B was empty. The bed was made. No one there. Jennifer checked with the other nurses. None of them remembered admitting a Marcus Webb. None of them knew who he was. She pulled the chart. Handwritten notes. Terrible handwriting. The notes said, "Patient refuses medication. Patient claims he doesn't exist. Patient is becoming more transparent." Transparent? What did that mean? At 2:47 a.m., Jennifer heard a voice behind her. A man's voice, thin and distant. "I'm looking for my room." Jennifer turned around. She saw a figure, translucent, like looking through old glass. The figure was a man, maybe 40, wearing a hospital gown. She could see through him. Literally through him. "I'm room 7B, the figure said. "But I can't find it anymore. Can you help me?" Jennifer screamed. Other nurses came running. They saw nothing. Just Jennifer, pointing at empty air, screaming. The next morning, they found the chart. Patient Marcus Webb. Admitted 1987. Psychiatric hold. Final note. Patient expired 1989. Body never recovered. Remains in system as active patient. Marcus Webb had been dead for 35 years, but he was still on the patient roster, still occupying a bed, still looking for room 7B. That room was sealed, blocked off, but night shift nurses still report seeing that translucent figure, walking the halls at 2:47 a.m., asking where his room is. And occasionally they find something disturbing. A patient in another room, sitting up in bed, looking directly at the wall. When asked what they're doing, they say the same thing. Watching the man walk by. He walks every night, but he never finds his room. Number 3. The inventory that counts. David worked inventory control at a massive warehouse. 35 years old, worked nights alone. His job, count items, log them, manage the stock. One night he noticed something wrong. The inventory count was off. They had recorded 5,000 units of product X, but David physically counted 5,001. There was an extra item. But where did it come from? He counted again the next night. 5,000 units recorded. He counted 5 and 2 physically. 2 extra items. Both nights the physical count was higher than the system showed. David checked the system logs. No one had entered items. No deliveries that day. Night 3, 5,003 physical. 5,000 in system. David was confused but not scared. Just odd. Night 4, 5,010 physical. 5,000 in system. 10 extra items now. Night 5. He walked the warehouse looking for the mysterious extras. He found them, stacked in the back corner. 10 mannequins, dressed in warehouse employee uniforms, positioned like they were working. David felt sick. He ran to grab them, to remove them, but when he reached the corner, they were gone. All 10. That night, he counted physical inventory again. 5,000 units. Exact match with the system. The mannequins had vanished. But something was different. David felt watched now. Whenever he worked, he felt eyes on him. 2 weeks later, David was doing inventory when he saw someone working across the warehouse. Another employee, same uniform, same build as David, counting items, working the same section. David approached him. "Hey, I didn't know anyone else was on tonight." The other David turned slowly. His face was wrong, smooth, featureless, like a mannequin with a vague outline of a face. "You're taking too long to count," the mannequin David said in a voice like static. "The items need you. We need more bodies." David ran, left his job, never came back. He heard later that they found something odd in the warehouse, in the back corner where the mannequins had been. A perfect replica of the warehouse, but smaller, like a model. And inside the model, tiny mannequins. Arranged like they were working, counting, always counting. The warehouse still operates, but night shift workers report the same thing, feeling watched, seeing shadows that move wrong, and finding extra items that were never ordered, extra items that keep multiplying. Number 2. The midnight customer. Kyle worked the night shift at a 24-hour convenience store. 23 years old, worked alone 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. Most nights were quiet, occasional drunk customers, regular insomniacs, nothing scary. Then, one night, at exactly midnight, a customer came in. A man. Very tall. Very pale. Wearing clothes from the 1950s. He walked directly to the back of the store, to the freezer section. Kyle didn't see him pay or leave. The man just disappeared into the freezers. Kyle went to check. The freezers were empty. Just frozen food. No man. The next night, same thing. Midnight exactly. Same customer, same walk to the freezers, same disappearance. This happened every night for a week. On the 8th night, Kyle followed the man into the freezer section. He watched the man open a freezer door. The freezer was full of frozen food. Normal. But then the man stepped into the freezer, and Kyle heard the door close. When Kyle opened it, the man was gone. Just frozen peas and corn inside. Kyle checked the back room, checked the roof access. No way out. That's when Kyle noticed something. All the receipts from the cash register. Every night at midnight there was a transaction, a purchase. But Kyle never rang it up. He never saw the man pay. Kyle checked the old receipts. The customer had been buying something every night, at midnight, for 3 years, long before Kyle worked there. Kyle quit. But he told the next night shift worker about it. They saw the man, too, and they found something worse. The camera footage from the midnight transactions showed the same man, in the same 1950s clothes. For the entire 3 years the store had been open. The man never aged, never changed, never looked different. The store is still operating, and every midnight there's a transaction, a purchase, from the man nobody sees paying. The man who walks into freezers and vanishes. Recently, someone bought the store and looked at the old receipts in detail. They realized the man was buying the same thing every night, the same item, over and over. They were all body parts, preserved, frozen, listed under non-existent product codes. The receipts stopped after that, but customers still report seeing him sometimes, standing at the freezer at midnight, just staring at the frozen food, or through it, into something else. Number 1. The extension that doesn't exist. This is our most disturbing night shift story because it happened in a place that millions of people work. A call center. Sarah worked customer service at a major tech support call center. 25 years old, worked 9 p.m. to 6 a.m. Hundreds of other operators. But she felt alone at night. Everyone did. One night during her break, Sarah overheard 2 operators talking. They were discussing calls they'd received, calls from an internal extension that didn't exist. "I got a call from extension 66, one operator said. But when I checked the extension list, it wasn't there. "What did they want?" the other asked. They said they were me, older me, calling to warn me not to come in tomorrow. Sarah thought they were joking. But over the next week, she heard more stories. Multiple operators getting calls from non-existent extensions, all saying the same thing. "Don't come in tomorrow." Sarah tried to dismiss it, until she got a call on her personal line. At 2:47 a.m., her own number calling her. She answered. She heard her own voice, but older, tired. "Sarah, listen to me. Don't come in tomorrow, and the day after tomorrow, and the day after that. Just don't come in." "Who is this?" "It's you, from next year. You have to stop coming to that call center. You have to leave now." The call ended. Sarah checked her phone logs. No call history. No record it happened. But she couldn't shake the feeling. So she called in sick the next day. That night there was news coverage. The call center had caught fire. Started in the basement, spread quickly. By the time the fire departments arrived, it was burning. The entire building was consumed. 37 people died in that fire, all night shift workers, all calling customers when the fire started, all unable to escape. Sarah's co-workers, her friends, all gone. The fire investigation found something disturbing. In the melted equipment in the basement, they found old phone lines, ancient technology, buried beneath the building. Phone lines that shouldn't exist. Phone lines that had been there for decades. And on those old lines they found a pattern. Phone calls made and received. But the dates were from the future. From 10 years from now. From 10 years after the fire. Someone, or something, was using those old phone lines to call backward through time, trying to warn people, trying to save them from a fire that hadn't happened yet. But only some people received the calls. Only the ones who would listen. Only the ones whose future selves were desperate enough to reach backward. Sarah survived because her future self called. but 37 others didn't, because they either didn't believe or their future selves never made it far enough into the future to call back. The call center was rebuilt, in a different location, new building, new equipment, new lines. But night shift workers still report the same thing. Calls from extensions that don't exist. Calls from themselves, from the future, trying to warn them about something. Some of those operators take the warning, some don't. And every few months, there's an incident at that call center. A small fire, an accident, an unexplained death. Always affecting someone who ignored a call from their future self. The phone calls from the future are still happening. They happen every night, to random operators, at random times. The calls always say the same thing. Don't come in tomorrow. Whether you listen, that's up to you. But if you work a night shift job and you get a call from an extension that does not exist, from someone who sounds exactly like you but older, maybe answer it. Because your future self is trying to save your life, and they're running out of time to reach you. 5 night shifts. 5 encounters with something wrong. The office where someone still walks. The hospital where patients never leave. The warehouse that wants more workers. The store with a frozen customer. And the call center receiving calls from the future. The night shift attracts a certain kind of person. The lonely, the desperate, the ones who need the extra pay. But sometimes what you encounter on the night shift isn't part of the job description. Sometimes it's something else entirely. Something that hides in the darkness. Something that's been waiting for the quiet hours. Waiting for when you're truly alone. The case is now closed. But if you work nights, if you're alone in an empty building right now, if you hear something you can't explain, just remember, you might not be as alone as you think. Subscribe for more cases. Stay safe on your night shifts. And if you get a call from someone who sounds exactly like you, maybe take it. It might be important. Until next time, this is the Whisper Files. Stay alert, stay aware, and be careful what you encounter when the sun goes down.